is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to look at the ZTE Optik on Sprint. We recently reviewed the ZTE Fury smartphone. It was a pretty good phone for the price, and this guy has a, well, sort of a budget price for a 7-inch Android tablet. It's $349 without a contract, $99 with. It has some nice features like a dual-core 1.2 gigahertz CPU and a 1280 by 800 resolution display that is really sharp and bright. This is the ZTE Optik on Sprint. This is a 7-inch Android honeycomb tablet that's available for a pretty reasonable price. It's $99 with a 2-year contract and $349 without a contract. Now, this is a 3G EVDO Rev A only tablet. This does not have WiMAX. That's because Sprint is moving away from WiMAX 4G and they're going to be getting into LTE, so they're not going to be rolling out any more WiMAX devices this year. That's what they've said. Still, for those of you who are Sprint customers and are happy with their 3G service, that's not such a bad thing. And this also has the mobile hotspot, by the way, so it can share connection features. But how does this stand up as a tablet? Now that there's a whole lot of price pressure on tablets, particularly the 7-inch ones, thanks to the Kindle Fire and the Nook tablet, this brings some good things to the table. Obviously, it's a full Android tablet. You've got the complete standard Android user interface with your application drawer right here, full access to the Google Market right there, now called the Play Store. Get a 2-megapixel front camera, a 5-megapixel rear camera, and you have a GPS that works with Google Maps and also Telenav GPS Navigator that's bundled. So that's what sets us apart from something like the Kindle Fire. And we'll compare them for you now so you can see just the overall size. So here they are, side by side, and you can see they're about the same size. No surprise there. It's 4.45 inches thick, so it's about the same size as the Kindle Fire in terms of thickness. The design's a little chunky on this guy, though, as you'll see. It's only 0.45 inches. It's less than a half an inch thick, but gosh, it looks a little chunkier somehow. That's one thing when you pay less for a product. Usually you don't get the fancier design, so they didn't do a whole lot here to try to make this look thinner than it is. It's interesting looking, though. You've got these rubberized hand grips here with serious texture on them, and it does indeed help to hold it, particularly in landscape mode. You've got a nice faux metal plastic back here. There's your camera. This is the 40-pin proprietary dock connector, and yes, indeed, you're going to have to use a special cable if you want to plug this into USB. So there's your connector, and this is the end of the cable that you're going to plug in, and that terminates in a normal USB end here. So whenever you want to copy stuff from your computer, you're going to have to plug this in. And by the way, when we plug this into our Mac, it actually loaded a driver disk. Now, it didn't install any special syncing software or anything like that. Apparently, it just doesn't use a standard Android Honeycomb 3.2 driver, so it needed an extra one. But we installed that, and it worked just fine. We were able to use mass storage mode using the Android file transfer utility, or just mass transfer to copy stuff onto the device. The charger looks a lot like the Samsung and Asus chargers. It's one of those shiny little block things with the pop-up prongs. USB cable plugs in right there to charge it. So pretty compact, attractive looking until you get it full of fingerprints like all these shiny things. And as we continue around, you see here's your little speaker grills. And there's your micro SD card slot. It does not come with a card pre-installed. Most tablets don't, and it's one of those things that'll pop right out eventually there. There you go. You can put a card in there. It has 16 gigs of internal storage already with about 12.5 built in. Got a microphone hole here. This is not a cell phone, folks. Okay, no side talking with this 7-inch tablet, but you can do VoIP stuff like Skype and Google Voice and video chat, so that's why the microphone is there. On this side, we have the kind of sculpted buttons for volume and power, and actually they feel nice and they work nicely. I don't tend to hit them by accident, but you can always feel them, find them, and use them. So that's kind of nice. You can see got little peaks here. Works well. And there's your 3.5 millimeter stereo headphone headset jack. It's always good to put your best face forward, and just like the T-Mobile Springboard, one of the nicest features about this is the sharp and high resolution display. This is 1280 by 800 pixel display. That makes it higher resolution than the original Galaxy Tab, the 7-inch, the first Android tablet that was available. And it's really sharp, really bright and clear thanks to the high resolution, and it's Gorilla Glass too. It gets plenty bright, and it's really particularly nice for ebook reading. And we've got Cool Reader loaded up here, and Google Books is pre-installed, and you can see how sharp the text looks. We'll just put this in portrait mode for you. So right now we have the parchment paper back right here. And you can change that to just be white or whatever you want, but text is really sharp and clear. actually a nicer reading experience than the Kindle Fire in terms of overall text sharpness, and this has a bit less glare. The Kindle Fire is pretty darn glary. And now we're in Google Play Books. You can see how the book looks. Very nice, sharp, clear, and dense text. Good looking stuff. The tablet has a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core Qualcomm Snapdragon CPU, which should be a pretty good performer, but on synthetic benchmarks, it didn't really knock our socks off. We got 1655 on Quadrant, which really there's some single-core CPUs that can score that well. A little surprised at that. On the Antutu benchmark, we got a 4655, which is respectable, decent, not wow. Experientially, it doesn't exactly fly. It's not a slug either, but it's not a super zippy tablet like the, say, Samsung Galaxy Tab 7.7 running on the Exynos dual-core CPU, but of course that's one of the fastest 7-inch tablets, if not the fastest on the market currently. For SunSpider JavaScript test, we got a score of 2912. The best tablets score around 2000, with lower numbers being better, and some phones score as low as 4500, so that puts it somewhere in between. Now if we navigate around and just swipe through things, not the super fastest thing in the world. If we look through our task manager to see what we've got loaded, we've got a good amount of things running in the background, but most of these are just settings and stuff like that. So speed is decent, but it's not going to set you on fire. For video playback, it does pretty well though. Now mind you, there is no HDMI port out on this tablet. We're going to swap to landscape mode so we can watch some videos. And we've got a 1080p high profile trailer loaded here, which is higher than screen resolution, so you don't really need to be playing something that high res, but there it is.
My dear Frodo.
Got speaker volume set about 3/4 of the way up. For a 7-inch tablet, the volume is pretty good.
Well, I can honestly say I have told you the truth. I may not have told
Now
you.
this is where it really shines. The screen on this is really nice, sharp, colorful, color accurate. Not super saturated like Super AMOLED displays in terms of color, but very natural. Really nice to watch movies on this.
Allow me to introduce
And the frame rates are fine, and the lip sync's good. So definitely nice as a portable video player. This is a locally stored MPEG-4 trailer that we're playing right now. And we've got the YouTube player on board as well. We'll check that out for some streaming stuff. And we do have Wi-Fi turned on right now. With 3G, we got about 600K downloads and about 400K uploads, which is pretty standard for us here on the Sprint network. And really, if you want to watch high-quality trailers, you're going to want a little bit faster connection on Wi-Fi. So we'll just look for a movie trailer. And now we'll stick with our Hobbit theme and go for an official trailer.
My dear Frodo, you asked me once if I had told you everything there was to know about my adventures. Well, I can
And again,
honestly
it's the
say
same
I have
trailer,
told you the truth.
and it looks great.
I may not have told you all of it.
I can't just go running.
And really, for a 7-inch tablet, the speaker sounds pretty good, and they got a good amount of separation by putting the speakers on the long side. It's really nice. And if you want, you can use a Bluetooth headset, Bluetooth headphones or speakers, and of course a plug-in stereo headset too. Of course, you can do other things too. You can play Netflix on this, all the standard Android stuff there. And as I said, you've got the Google Play Store there, so any applications that are your favorites for Android you can download. This runs Android with 3.2 Honeycomb. No word on ice cream sandwich upgrade on this tablet. And in terms of other applications, Sprint really didn't load too much custom apps on here, so there's not a lot of junk, which is nice. You've got Sprint Music Plus, Sprint Zone, NASCAR on here, and you've got Telenav GPS Navigator as well, right here. You also get documents to go, in case you want to be a little business-minded with this product. So here we are on the desktop for the tablet version of this, and you can see you can access all your locally stored files, Google Docs as well, and if you want to create a new one, you can create Word, Excel, and PowerPoint documents here, so you can create and edit. It's not just a viewer, which is good. As I mentioned, this is a 5-megapixel rear camera. It takes okay shots. It's not too bad. I don't know how many of you actually use that feature on tablets, but it's a decent camera. And the front camera is certainly good enough for video chat, and again, that sets it ahead of the Kindle Fire and the Nook tablet. Whereas I think that a lot of you probably don't use that back camera so much. For things like portable video chat, that is a nice feature to have, that front-facing camera. The tablet has a 4,000 milliamp battery that's sealed inside, and ZTE USA's webpage says that's good for 100 hours of standby, which sounds kind of short. And Sprint's website actually has very little in the way of technical specs. You'd think you were looking up the specs for a paper cup or something like that. A little bizarre that they don't tell you more. So we're going to keep testing this, but so far it's lasted through the day on a charge using 3G and using Wi-Fi. It's not going to be the all-out 5-day Energizer Bunny kind of tablet, but it's probably going to be good for a day of use or so. But again, you'll have to read our full review when we get to put this through several days more testing to let you know about that battery life. So that's the ZTE Optik on Sprint. It's available now, $99 with contract, $349 without. And a word about that, it's nice to save $250, sure, but you know what? The cost of a contract that you're going to be locked into is obviously a lot more than that when you're talking about $30 or more for your monthly data plans. So I would encourage you to get this without a contract if you can afford it, because otherwise you're signing away for $1,000, $2,000 worth of data plan that you might decide you don't want in the future. But again, that is up to you in the end. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Visit our website for the full review of the ZTE Optik on Sprint, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.